First at 5:30, remembering 9/11 14 years later. This morning at the White House, the president, Mrs. Obama, and the White House staff gathered on the South Lawn, and they observed a moment of silence marking the 14th year since the terror attacks on September 11, 2001.
Just one of thousands of memorials and ceremonies today, but at the Rhode Island 9/11 Memorial at the Statehouse, there is something missing, according to local victims' family members.
They asked us to look into it, and we went back more than a decade to get some answers. Eyewitness News reporter Walt Buteau has more from the Providence Mobile Newsroom.
Over the years, we've been asked, why weren't the names of the local victims put on this memorial? Today, we found out. Among the victims' family members at today's Statehouse ceremony was Richard DelleFemme.
I lost someone in this math.
His sister, Carol Bouchard, was on one of the planes that hit the Twin Towers. He tells us he and other family members wanted and still want their loved ones' names on the Statehouse Memorial, or at least near it. Peter Diepenbrock is the artist who created the memorial that includes 9 layers of gold leaf in 2 towers that, from a distance, form an 11.
You know, it was catastrophic.
He tells us the decision to put a quote from President Bush on the block of granite came from the governor's office.
I did try to fight it. I really was kind of adamantly against it, but they overrode that.
Why did you try to fight it?
I thought just the pure date, simply stated, was the appropriate way to go.
Lincoln Almond was governor when the memorial was commissioned, and we reached out to him, but he has not responded. The executive director of the State Council on the Arts tells us Governor Almond's office considered putting the victims' names on the granite, but one issue was how to define what names would be included. He says another problem was the goal to have the memorial in place for the first 9/11 ceremony 1 year after the tragedy.
Well, the actual timeline, it was very fast.
Diepenbrock recalls the granite was cut and polished in Minnesota, and there wasn't a lot of time to debate what would be engraved.
There was probably 6 to 8 weeks of pre-planning before actual building.
That's not a lot of time for a project like that.
No.
Still, DelleFemme tells us several family members will not be satisfied until their loved ones' names are here. Could the names be added now? The artist isn't necessarily against it, but the question is, who would start that ball rolling? In Providence, Walt Buteau, Eyewitness News.